Hello everybody, my name is Thanh Cầm and this is my partner Lâm. Today we are going to have a presentation about structure of the female reproductive system. The reproductive system in females is responsible for producing gametes called egg or ova, certain sex hormones, and maintaining fertilized eggs as they develop into mature fetuses and become ready for delivery. There are three major components of female reproductive system. The internal reproductive organs can be found within the pelvic cavity, and they include the ovaries, which produce the female sex cells called oocytes, as well as sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone. The uterine tubes, which carry the fertilized oocytes to the uterine cavity. The uterus, which houses the growing fetus during pregnancies, and the vagina, which is involved both in intercourse and fetal delivery. The external organs lie in an area called the vulva, and they include the labia, the clitoris, and the vaginal opening. The breasts are the most prominent superficial structures in the anterior thoracic wall, consisting of glandular tissue and supporting fibrous and fatty matrix. Now, let's start with internal genitalia. In section A is ovaries. The ovaries are a pair of small almond-shaped organs located in the pelvis. The ovary contains four surfaces: anterior, posterior, medial, lateral, and two pores: superior, inferior. With 8 ovaries is held in place on either side of the uterus by several ligaments. First, suspensory ligament of ovaries, formed of peritoneum, extending from the mesothelium to the pelvic wall, contain neurovascular structures. Second is ligament of ovaries or utero-ovarian ligament, extend from the ovary to the fundus of the uterus. It then continuous from the uterus to the connective tissue of the labium major as the round ligament of uterus. Finally, is broad ligament. The next part is fallopian tubes. A fallopian tube is about 5.5 inches long and lies near its ovary. It is divided into 4 regions. Closest to the ovaries is the infundibulum, which have finger-like projections called fimbrias. They cast the egg after it's released from the ovary. Next is the ampulla, which is the longest region, and fertilization of an ovum is most likely to occur in this region. Then the isthmus, and finally the intramural part, which travels through the wall of the uterus in order to transport the ovum into either the upper left or right of the uterine cavity. Outer layer of the fallopian tube is covered by peritoneum. The inner layer of the fallopian tube is cilia. Through their motions with the ovum along, it usually takes the ovum about 2 or 3 days to pass through the fallopian tube. In section C, we have uterus. The uterus is a pear-shaped organ in the reproductive system of people assigned female at birth. The uterus is in the pelvis between the bladder and rectum. It is supported by the pelvic floor muscle and perineal body. Ligaments in the pelvis, lower back, and hips also help hold the uterus in place. The uterus looks like a light bulb. It's about the size of the feet. It's also commonly described as an upside-down pear. The uterus has several sections. Fundus, the uppermost and widest part of the uterus, it connects to the fallopian tube. Carpus, the main body of the uterus, this is where a fertilized egg is born during pregnancy. Isthmus, the part of the uterus between the carpus and cervix, is where the uterus starts to narrow and thins. Cervix, the lowest part of the uterus, the cervix open to the vagina.
The third part is the external genitalia. The external genitalia. The difference between from the internal genitalia and the external genitalia is found in the embryonic development stage. The Mullerian duct from the fallopian tubes in the uterus, while the Gouffian duct from the ovaries. The large parts of the Mullerian duct and urogenital sinus from the vagina and the other parts of the external genitalia. The vagina is a musculo-membranous tube that provides passage for the menstrual fluid from the lower part of the birth canal and receive the penis and the ejaculated during sexual intercourse. The vagina extends from the cervix to the external opening called the vaginal orifice. This orifice, along with the external ureteral orifice and the opening of the great vestibular glands, open into the cleft between the labial minora, called the vestibule of the vagina. The upper part of the vagina forms the recess around the cervix, called the vaginal fornix. The fornix has 4 parts: lateral part and anterior and posterior part. The posterior vaginal fornix is the deepest part and lies directly anterior to the rectal uterine pouch. The vagina lies posterior to the urinary bladder and urethra and anterior to the rectum. The mons pubis is a round, fatty eminence that lies anterior to the pubis symphysis, pubic tubercular, and superior pubic rami. This eminence has coarse pubic hair that grows after puberty. From the mons pubis, 2 folds of skin called the labia minora and majora arise and extend posteriorly toward the anus. This labia meet anterior to form the anterior commissure and posteriorly to form the posterior commissure. Also, the labia majora has the terminal point of the round ligaments of the uterus, which is the embryonic remnant of the gubernaculum in female. The labia majora lie on X side of the central dispersion called the pudendal cleft, which hosts the labia minora and the vestibule of the vagina. The labia minora are paired, hairless fold of skin that contains spongy connective tissue, erectile tissue, and many blood vessels. The labia unite posteriorly to form a fold of skin called the frenulum of the labia minora, or the fourchette. The clitoris. Anterior labium divided into medial and lateral fold. This medial fold unit below to the clitoris form the point extension called the frenulum of the clitoris. The lateral fold unit to form the fold of skin called the prepuce foreskin, the clitoris. This fold covers the clitoris with even the main female erectile organs. erectile organ that's counterpart to the penis in male. The clitoris has three parts, called the root, the body, and the gland clitoris. The root of the clitoris consists of two corolla that attach to the inferior pubic rami in the perineal membrane, deep to the labia. This corolla consists of erectile tissue called the corpora cavernosa, which extends into body at the angles of the clitoris. The gland clitoris, unlike the gland of penis, doesn't have the external urethral opening. This means that the clitoris doesn't have a urinary function and functions solely as an organ of sexual arousal. The gland clitoris is the most highly innervated portion of the clitoris and the only portion that can be seen externally. Next is the bulb and the vestibular gland. Lateral and deep to the vagina orifice are the bulb of the vestibular, which is paired elongated mass of erectile tissue, a comparable structure in male of bulb of the penis. The bulbs are covered inferior and lateral by a bubble spongiate muscle. Next are the greater vestibular gland or Bartholin glands, which are paired round glands that lie posterior lateral to the vagina orifice. These glands are partially covered by a bubble spongiate muscle during sexual arousal. They secrete the mucus into tiny ducts that open on the exit of the vagina orifice. Part 4 is breast. Breast is location on the upper anterior region of the chest. It's composed of glandular tissue supported by fibrous and fatty matrix. The amount of fat surrounding this gland tissue will determine the size of the breast. Next is mammary glands. Mammary glands is made up of 12 to 20 lobes, each of them containing many small lobes. These smaller lobes have the grape-like cluster of alveoli that contain mammary secretory epithelial cells, the milk-producing cells of the lactation. These alveoli lobeless lobes are connected through a network of ducts called the lactiferous duct, and eventually form a unique lactiferous duct. For each lobe will open independently to the areola to drain the milk produced during lactation. The lactiferous duct have a dilated portion deep to the areola called the lactiferous sinus, in which there is a small drop of milk that accumulates or remain in losing water, which become expelled from the areola when compressing during feeding. It's at the end of the presentation. Thanks for listening.